California pick it up in the first quarter. And for Raheem Mostert, playing for his 7th NFL team, this was a day he will never forget.
Greeny, this is just a great play design by Kyle Shanahan. 3rd and 8, realizes those ends are going to rush upfield. They trap, they gain a numbers and leverage advantage. Big start for the 49ers.
The 49ers would start so fast they'd be up 20-0, and right before the half, the Packers trying to get points. And Dan,
this is the cover 3. You're going to see the corner Mosey, bottom of the screen. He plays in between those 2 receivers. Vision on the quarterback. He knows the ball is out of his hands before the receiver ever turns around. Great play by that cover 2 midline corner. Cover
it was the
3.
Packers' 2nd turnover in the first half, and it would turn into points.
Right here.
Again, that's Mostert. The 49ers ran for 185 yards in the first half. They were up 27-0, and then more Mostert in the second half. He would finish with 29 carries, 220 yards, second most all time, and 4 touchdowns. The 49ers, in a huge way, knock out Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, and they are on their way to the Super Bowl for the first time since 2012. And Mostert put on a show. The 220, as I mentioned, a new franchise record, 2nd most in a postseason game ever, and he becomes just the 3rd player in playoff history with at least 4 rushing touchdowns in a single game.
The 49ers dominant running the ball, but Dan, they don't get to that point without their blocking and their scheme. Why is that such a big part of their success?
It is the best all-around blocking unit and schemed-up unit in the NFL. When I mean all-around, is like all 11 guys are part of their run game. And Kyle Shanahan just does a great job of understanding situational football and then angles with their football. And Mostert's a really good back when it comes to vision, but just the push of the line of scrimmage. Listen, in the NFL, we have this drill called 9-on-7 in practice, and it's really built to help the run game get better at what they're going to do that week. So 9 players on offense. Basically, everybody but the receivers are involved, and then the 7 guys on defense, everybody but the secondary. And you have this drill to get your run game going. That's what it looked like I was watching. It looked like 9-on-7, where it was just like, you're looking like,
I don't know what type of 9-on-7 you were.
Do the Packers have 11 guys on defense right now? It was just incredible push by all 11 on their offense.
I think you got to give credit to the 2 Kyles, right? I mean, Kyle Shanahan and Kyle Juszczyk are just absolute weapons. The way they scheme that up, and that fullback is something that not only is he the point of attack, but he moves bodies. Here's a little stat that Hembo gave me just a couple minutes ago. 186 yards they rushed for before contact even happened. I mean, he was running wide open. They wouldn't even got him in flag football. 2 of his touchdowns, he wasn't even touched. I mean, that is just absolute dominance. And a lot of people are going to talk about Aaron Rodgers' struggles and Green Bay Packers struggles. But if a team can run like that and do whatever they want, whenever they want on the ground, there's nothing the other team can do for that. And I think you account for George Kittle, who's one of the biggest weapons offensively that they had. Yesterday, he said, listen, I understand that we're going to be able to move the rock here. Jimmy G's only going to throw the ball 8 times, but we are going to run all over this Packers defense. And they did that. Terry Bradshaw, who runs shingles commercials during the offseason, asked Kyle Shanahan after the game on the podium, he said, why'd you only throw the ball 8 times and run the ball so much? He said, because they couldn't stop it. And that really was what it looked like from bell to bell. That Niners team was just running all over everybody.
Think about this. They're up 27-0 at halftime. Their quarterback had thrown 6 passes. They ran 51 plays yesterday and scored 37, and 43 of them were runs. And then on first down, when everyone talks about balance and how important it is to have both, they ran the ball 22 times on first down and threw it twice. When you're doing whatever you want to a team, you have complete control of the football game.
I mean, I know Mostert's going to get a lot of this other credit, but really, Kyle Shanahan and his scheme, me and Swagoo was talking about it. It's about changing the math. And what he was able to do, understanding when he's going against Mike Pettin, he was setting their defense one way, and then changing the math with a puller or even the sweep. And you look at the touchdown that he got. You know, it's pretty much unstopped. You look right here, the defense is set right here to the left side. They don't know what to do. And right here, you change the math. Now you just run out of guys. Now all he has to do is beat one defender, and now you have a lead blocker, and you're not going to block somebody run this fast in space. And he does a good job at what we call not missing the layup. Yeah. And pretty much, I don't know if because Mike Pettin and Shanahan was on the same staff, you get some of those secrets that understanding that, that defense, because you understand you're in the three-point stance. You can't see the motion. You don't understand that once they shift or they come back, that you can't shift back and get the leverage. So it's all about math. And he understands it's great. And, you think about just some of the running backs in this system. When I say this system, I'm talking about the Kyle Shanahan, the Mike Shanahan system. You think about Orlandis Gary. You think about Terrell Davis. You think about, C.J. Anderson. You think about Mike Anderson. It's more of the system. and understanding how to really run the game and get lanes and put a lot of pressure on the opposing line.
I don't want to rain on anybody's parade here. Obviously, they won the game in dominant fashion. Mostert had the kind of day you never forget. But Bob Greasy in Super Bowl VIII was the last time a team attempted fewer
Gee, I know
than
where you're
10
going. They're going to have to
passes in
throw the
playoffs.
damn ball more than 8 times.
This is what
All
I'm saying.
We just finished talking about who Dan think the greatest player to ever play any sport in the history of sports.
Right.
We know Patrick Mahomes is going to put pressure on San Fran.
Yeah.
And that pressure is going to be created for Jimmy Garoppolo to respond. Here's what I go back to. We watched him against the Saints have the ability to go blow for blow with Drew Brees. That's the only thing that gives you confidence in this game. Because if you came into this game thinking that you're going to line up and run the ball and outscore the Kansas City Chiefs, you are dead wrong. Now, who has a better chance? San Fran, because they can rush the passer with 4. Please rush the passer.
They might need 5. They might need 5.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing that was so impressive about what San Francisco did from a defensive standpoint. When I'm looking at the game, not one time was a D lineman able to go north and south. Everything they had to do was east and west and try to tackle guys in space. Bart can tell you, when your defensive coordinator says, guys, we have to get off blocks and play 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and your shoulders are going this way instead of this way, you giving up 200 yards, boss. And it's an ugly day the next day in the building.
You guys have told us so many times that you don't realize how fast the 49ers defense is until you actually try and face them. Aaron Rodgers had to deal with that. Here's what he said after the game.
Just kind of felt like it was meant to be almost. So that is a little disappointing, a little more disappointing. Then you realize, I don't have the same number of years ahead of me as I do behind me. So it's slightly more disappointing. But this one will always be special because it became fun again.
Boy, he left us a lot to unpack there, didn't he? He's talking about the end of his career and how this year was fun and suggesting that previous years were not. Let's talk to his personal representation over there, and that would be Mr. McAfee. What'd you make of all that?
I think what he was saying there was he refound fulfillment in football again. I think towards the end of his relationship there with McCarthy, I think he and McCarthy had something special in Green Bay. Then I think they kind of got stale with each other. That can happen after a decade or so relationship in any sort of fashion, let alone professional. I think what happened this year with the Green Bay Packers is they won a lot of games ugly. I think they retooled that defense. I think Aaron Rodgers made plays when he had to make plays. I think Aaron Jones had a heck of a year. But for me, I think going into the offseason, I think what Aaron Rodgers sees is in December, he said he can see the 18th hole. He only has a couple years left. If they can retool that team, get him a couple more weapons, I think Aaron is very excited to get back into this thing. Even though yesterday was a steamroll, they ran into a buzzsaw. I think the Packers are in good hands for the next couple years at least.
I mean, that window is closing. He only has a year or two to try and close the deal because everybody around him is getting better. Everybody else has the young, cheap quarterback. You still have the Saints there. They have a tough division they have to go through. And we may have seen the last. This may be his best last chance to kind of win because we know that next year San Francisco is going to come of age even more, and all these young guys are going to get more experience. You know that you have Seattle still there. They're going to get better. This may be the last that we've seen of Aaron Rodgers, and it's sorry to say that.
Yeah, listen, windows are always a part of the conversation. Like, we get it. He's been a part of windows for 15 years. He's been a part of that division for 15 years. Everyone is going to bury Aaron Rodgers, and everyone is going to say Aaron Rodgers is never going to be back and this and that. Ask yourself this. If you put Aaron Rodgers on the Chiefs, when you guys want to talk about how good of a football...
How are you going to do that, though?
Let me finish.
Too much cheese on the taco.
You talk about how good the Chiefs are. If Aaron Rodgers is on the Chiefs, are they probably in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, they are, Dan.
If Aaron Rodgers is on San Francisco, are they in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I'll answer. Yeah.
So they have to draft better, which they have drafted one really good skill player since 2014, Devontae Adams. Aaron Jones trending that way. So you got to draft better, and they put all their free agent money into defense. So as long as you get him some pieces, I'll say it again, don't doubt greatness, because Aaron Rodgers is the same guy we had the conversation about 12 years ago. Is he one of the greatest of all time? And also, when you take talented people, inconsistency versus incapability. Rodgers is still capable of balling. The fact that he took this team to the NFC title game.
Okay.
When he didn't have many pieces around him is just a teaser to what they can become in the next 2 years.
Well, the fact that he did it partly is because Kirk Cousins is the guy we thought he was, obsolete of the New Orleans Saints game. That's number one. But I don't think the window is about Aaron Rodgers.
What did Kirk do to get a shot right there?
He didn't beat the Green Bay Packers.
Okay,
That's what he did.
All right.
Anyway, The window is not about Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is good enough. I think we all agree. We watch football. We understand. The window is about everybody else. This conversation never really revolves around if a guy is good enough or not. It's clear cut when a guy ain't the same. Aaron Rodgers made 2 throws in that game yesterday that only a few quarterbacks can make in the NFL. He still has the ability to do those type of things. To Bart's point, everybody else is coming of age now. It's just like the conversation I told you about with Phillip Rivers, G. Phillip Rivers had good enough teams. He was a good enough quarterback to make it to Super Bowls. Phillip Rivers' only damn problem was Peyton Manning and Tom Brady was who he had to beat to get to the Super Bowl. Yep. That's what's happening to Aaron Rodgers now. It's not that he can't do it. He's about to start having 2 or 3 teams every year that he's going to have to go through this gauntlet to try to get there, and possibly not because the team is a better team than the team that he has.
And so the Chiefs and the Niners will be playing in Super Bowl 54. Everyone else is starting to worry about next year. And that means this weekend, Patriot fans groaned, Raider fans grinned, and all the rest of us were intrigued. What a picture from Saturday night actually meant.
Look at that leather jacket.
Yeah,
Look at that haircut.